with Mitsumi Takahashi.
Good evening. A 3-year-old girl is missing. The search for Claire Bell spans from LaSalle to Coteau-du-Lac. There are many questions about how this little girl came to be missing. Here's Kelly Gregg.
3-year-old Claire Bell was last seen here at her Newman Boulevard home in LaSalle at 9:45 Sunday morning. Neighbors say last night police showed up and started searching door to door, and residents here are very worried about the little girl.
I felt bad for them the whole night because I talked with the policeman by the entrance last night. They went searching door to door. It was pretty, yeah, it's horrible.
While the girl was last seen in LaSalle, she was actually reported missing hours later by her mother in Coteau-du-Lac. That's about an hour west of LaSalle. Police set up a command post there after she went into a store and told someone she didn't have her child anymore. Police say she was driving a gray 2007 Ford Escape with the license plate K50FVE with a sticker that says baby on board. Police say if you saw that vehicle, to call them. There are few details about the woman's state of health, and officers are still trying to figure out the timeline of events, but say an Amber Alert was not issued because it doesn't meet the criteria. To send out the emergency alert, police need to believe a child was abducted, that their safety is in danger, and that officers have information that may help locate the child. The Sûreté du Québec has been searching a wide area all the way to Ontario. We have specialized units, including helicopters, drones, and ground search crew, he says. There's a group of search and rescue volunteers.
It's not easy. Everybody, we pray for being able to find her quickly because it's very hot. It's been a long time since she's missing.
Bell is described as 0.9 meters or 3 feet tall and 16 kilograms or 35 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes, speaks English, and was last seen wearing a white long-sleeve shirt with a pink collar, gray pants, and no shoes. She could be with her dog, a brown, long-haired Chihuahua. Police are asking residents of LaSalle and Coteau-du-Lac to check any buildings on their property, and if anyone has information about the whereabouts of the girl, to call 911 or the SQ. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
And police have just held a briefing on the little girl. Caroline, what did they have to say?
Mitsumi Provincial Police just made a statement less than 20 minutes ago, and they said that just after 2 o'clock, an animal was found dead on the side of Highway 30 near the 20, and it looks like it could be the one that belongs to the family and was reported missing with the little girl. They're doing verifications now on the body of the animal to be determined if it is in fact the long-haired Chihuahua that was the family's pet or with the little girl. So they cannot confirm anything yet, except that it does seem to correspond to the one that disappeared with the little girl. Now, the animal again was on the side of the road near Vaudreuil, which is about 30 minutes away, 23 kilometers away. No other details from Coteau-du-Lac, no other details for now because they're still doing the investigation. They've got helicopters in the air continuing to look from the sky. They're also doing, continuing to do ground searches in both areas now, Coteau-du-Lac and Vaudreuil, and in between. As for the mother, they cannot say anything other than that she is being met by investigators. So for now, they are just trying to verify the information they have, and they're continuing to look more in both areas. Mitsumi.
Okay, thank you very much, Caroline. Well, the G7 summit has begun at the Rocky Mountain Resort in Kananaskis in Alberta. The heads of some of the world's most powerful countries are gathered for 2 days of talks. Prime Minister Mark Carney is hosting the talks, his first test on an international stage. Here's Mike Lecouture.
U.S. President Donald Trump says a deal with Canada is achievable soon, but just how he and Prime Minister Mark Carney will get to a resolution remains unclear.
Our primary focus will be trade and trade with Canada, and I'm sure we can work something out.
But it's unclear which path the two countries will agree on.
I've always been a tariff. It's simple, it's easy, it's precise, and it just goes very quickly. And I think Mark has a more complex idea, but also very good.
The meeting lasted for more than an hour and focused on trade negotiations and advancing the security relationship between the two countries.
The important thing is that we collectively think we're making progress and coming
to a deal that would be in the economic interest of both countries. But we're not there yet, and that's why we reconvened after the meeting with the President and the Prime Minister, and we agreed to reconvene before the end of this week again.
While those bilateral negotiations continue, Prime Minister Mark Carney kicked off the G7 meeting, calling for unity at a time when he says the world is more divided and dangerous.
We're gathering at one of those turning points in history. I think we all recognize that turning point where the world looks to this table for leadership.
But it's already proving difficult, with Trump again suggesting Russia be included around this table. And he falsely claimed Justin Trudeau was prime minister in 2014 when Russia was booted from the G8, when in fact it was Stephen Harper.
The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in, and I would say that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in.
The war in Ukraine will be part of the discussion on global peace and security, which is scheduled for this evening, as will the talks around the escalating violence in the Middle East. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Kananaskis, Alberta.
And it is the fourth day of Israel and Iran exchanging fire. The Israeli military is claiming it now has air superiority over Tehran. Iran fired a new wave of missiles at Israel, killing at least 8 people. Richard Engel is in Tel Aviv.
On day 4, this war between Israel and Iran is clearly escalating, both in the rhetoric and in military activity. The Iranian state media, which generally represents the government, reported a short while ago that Iran is preparing the most intense, powerful strikes against Israel in this country's history. They've even ordered the evacuation of certain parts of Tel Aviv, not far from where I am right now. I can tell you there's not a panic in the city. People aren't evacuating, but Israel has been firing in Iran, and Iran has been firing back. Iran has been launching hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones since this began on Friday, and some of those ballistic missiles are getting through. The vast majority are being stopped by Israeli air defenses, but the missiles are so large that even if 1, 2, or 3 do manage to penetrate the net, they can cause considerable damage. I was at a building just outside of Tel Aviv earlier today that was hit directly by an Iranian missile, and several people were killed in their so-called safe rooms, in their fortified safe room. The ballistic missile powerful enough to penetrate that reinforced concrete. So that is making Israelis more nervous, that the defenses that they are used to no longer seem to be as effective when dealing with a state and not just a militia group like Hamas or Hezbollah. Richard Engel, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
Well, here in Montreal, the Grand Prix weekend is over, and with it, buses and metros are back at a limited schedule. And again, the commuters are left waiting, frustrated. Sweeta Rassi has more.
The lineups were long outside Vendôme Station.
Well, I was waiting for the 90. It's supposed to, I just missed it, so I have to wait, I don't know, an hour for the next one.
After a brief break for the Grand Prix weekend, the STM strike is back on, with service running during peak hours in the morning and afternoon, and at 50% capacity during off-peak hours.
I dislike it, but I guess one has to go with the flow, and there's nothing to do.
STM maintenance workers went on strike last week, saying scheduling and outsourcing are major issues. With limited services, some transit users already feel like they've had enough.
I work at Walmart. It's too far for me to walk. I'm with my knee and everything, you know. The bus is full in the morning.
Yeah, it's overcrowded.
Yeah, I don't like that.
My shift was at 10 a.m. I had to leave at 8 or 7:30 so I can catch the last bus and then go to work. So it was kind of really hard last week.
The STM and the union is now facing a possible class action lawsuits on behalf of riders.
And during the weekend, just because it's the F1, everything, all the services are reestablished, just for the comfort of a certain class of people. That's, according to us, unacceptable.
Neither the STM nor the union would comment on the lawsuit, but told CTV News services were running during the weekend due to public safety risks posed by large crowds. One public transit advocacy group says it's not surprised about the growing frustrations.
Because people, they pay a specific amount for a specific service, and they haven't been offered a service they're supposed to be for like 9 days.
The lawsuit needs to get approved by a Quebec judge before moving forward. The strike ends Tuesday at 10 p.m. Negotiations are continuing, and a resolution can't come soon enough for passengers. Sweet Arasi, CTV News.
Unmarried couples in Quebec do not have common law status. So in the event the couple separate, neither partner has any financial obligation to the other. But starting next month, that will change for couples with children. Here's Matt Gilmore.
Weddings are still a major milestone, but fewer couples are tying the knot. In Quebec, 42% of all couples are unmarried, compared to just 8% 40 years ago, despite there being no legal protections if separation occurs.
The children have all the rights and benefits of children that are born to married people or in a civil union. But the spouses themselves don't have an obligation of support. And a lot of people get that confused because they've heard the word common law and they think it applies to them.
Common law partnerships do not exist in Quebec. Instead, family lawyer Linda Hammerschmidt says couples can enter what are called cohabitation agreements. But starting next month, a new layer of protection will be added for unmarried couples with children.
The obligations under this new regime of parental union, which says that the family residence, any secondary residence, cars and furniture fall in.
Unmarried couples with children born after June 30th will automatically enter into a parental union, giving each spouse 50% right to the family's homes, cars, and furniture.
What it does protect is the other partner who has less income or no income. So that's a step forward for usually women.
But Hammerschmidt says it doesn't provide full protection. Investments and retirement funds, for example, are not part of the parental union. Instead, she recommends both married and unmarried couples sign cohabitation agreements that spell out exactly how assets will be divided if the relationship ends.
I think that it's much better for anybody that wants to live together to do this, and it forces people to talk to each other.
Unmarried couples with children born before June 30th can opt into a parental union. Similarly, unmarried couples will be allowed to opt out at any time. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
The suspect in a hit and run in Boucherville has turned himself into police. At around 10 last night, a car went out of control, hit a house on Marie-Victorin in Boucherville. Witnesses say the driver ran away before the authorities arrived. The car had flipped over. The front facade of the house was damaged, though no one was hurt. Police say the 35-year-old suspect could face several charges. A 17-year-old boy is being charged in connection with the death of a 16-year-old in April. A 16-year-old was fatally stabbed in April in NDG. After issuing a Canada-wide warrant, police arrested the suspect in Niagara Falls. He's being charged with manslaughter. His identity is being protected because he is a minor. The mayor of Dollard-des-Ormeaux is questioning why prosecutors decided not to press criminal charges. It's in a case where police exchanged fire with a suspect and struck two innocent bystanders. On August 4th, 2024, a man who was being chased by Montreal police tried to steal the Abdallah family's car outside their DDO home. Two members of the Abdallah family were injured, as well as a suspect. Hussam Abdallah was shot 5 times. His son was also injured.
I'm not advocating that someone is found guilty, but I put into question, is that normal police procedure? Coming into a residential area, firing 40 shots in the air around, hitting people, innocent people?
The mayor has written to Quebec's public security minister asking that the investigation be expanded into an independent form. The Public Security Office is saying it will review the mayor's request, and it says it has full confidence in the independence of the Justice Ministry and the BEI. The former Montreal Institute for the Deaf and Mute will be turned into housing. Quebec and Montreal have chosen a developer to do the work. The building on Barrie has been sitting vacant for a decade now. The plan will preserve the original building and surround it with towers up to 25 stories high. When finished, it will have more than 800 units, some reserved for low-income housing.
It's a very intelligent project and ambitious project because we have different challenges. We want to preserve this heritage building. That is a challenge in itself. But we also want to develop housing for low-income people, social housing. So that means that it's another challenge. And to be able to conjugate to these challenges, we need to offer density because everything, all the financial project has to be balanced between all these objectives.
And the construction is slated to begin next summer. Well, after 7 years of service to the Montreal Police Force, Monty is retiring. Monty is also a member of Quebec's Animal Hall of Fame. Here's Christine Long.
Gotta watch the fingers.
More playtime for Monty now that he's turned in his badge with the Montreal Police Canine Unit.
He enjoys relaxing and spending time with his family and his toys.
Constable Patrick Desjardins says his partner was hard-working during his career.
Monty's a very courageous dog, very curious dog, very loyal dog, and those are all traits that really helped him during his career and really helped me to perform well on the road with him.
Monty can sniff out and track just about anything.
He's found guns, he's found missing people, he's found suspects, a lot of evidence that was left on scene.
He was also an ambassador.
Good boy. I've been in a lot of schools to meet with kids, and so he's very good in community events.
Monty now lives with Desjardins and his family. And since four-footed service members don't get a pension, Ned's Wish, a national nonprofit organization, is helping make Monty's retirement comfortable.
There really is no funding for them in their aftercare. And, they have served just like two-legged officers, and they have protected the public, they protected their handlers.
After a lifetime of service, Monty needs a bit extra care that adds up to $400 a month.
And as they get older and they need special food, they need medications to help them be a little bit more comfortable and enjoy that retirement.
During all those years in the line of duty, Monty followed commands and was rewarded with his favorite toy.
And now that's the perk of the retirement. He has access to it 24/7.
Christine Long, CTV News.
And coming up, politicians being shot in their homes.
I heard a lot of people talking aloud and, and shooting. And oh my God, what's happening?
But finally, an arrest and first-degree murder charges. And satellites flying in formation, creating the first man-made solar eclipse. The suspect in the shootings of two Minnesota state lawmakers have been arrested after a massive manhunt. He faces first-degree murder charges. Olivia Rubin has more.
Police arresting 57-year-old Vance Bolter late Sunday evening near his farm in Green Isle, Minnesota, ending a 43-hour manhunt after spotting him on camera.
He was cooperative and cooperated with law enforcement and gave up peacefully at that time.
SWAT teams and helicopters surrounding the area. Officials say he was armed at the time but arrested without incident. Federal authorities this afternoon announcing multiple felony counts against Bolter, including murder, stalking, and firearms charges.
And these are punishable by a term of life imprisonment or even death.
Bolter accused of posing as a police officer and shooting two state lawmakers, one of them fatally. Officials say he first went to the home of State Senator John Hoffman early Saturday morning, shooting him and his wife in their home. Court documents say it was their daughter who immediately called 911, setting officers into motion. A local sergeant sending a team to proactively check on State Representative Melissa Hortman nearby. Those officers arriving and claiming to find the uniform-clad suspect emerging from that home. Officials say his vehicle equipped with flashing lights looked like a police cruiser in the driveway. Police say Bolter fired on them and fled on foot, a neighbor hearing it all.
I heard a lot of people talking aloud and, and shooting. And oh my God, what's happened?
In Bolter's car, law enforcement saying they found a list with dozens of other Democrats, including Governor Tim Walz and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Officials now condemning what they have described as assassination.
One man's unthinkable actions have altered the state of Minnesota. A moment in this country where we watch violence erupt. This cannot be the norm.
In a new statement, the Hoffman family is thanking law enforcement for apprehending this suspect and saying they consider themselves lucky to be alive. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
The black box cockpit voice recorder is being recovered from the crash of the Air India flight. The London-bound Boeing 787 crashed on Thursday soon after takeoff. At least 270 people were killed. The voice recorder captured audio from the cockpit, including pilot conversations and alarms. The U.S. and the U.K. are assisting India in the investigation. While the G7 leaders meet in Alberta, premiers from Eastern Canada and U.S. state governors met in Boston today. They're talking trade and tariffs. The premiers were invited by New England governors, including the ones from Maine and Massachusetts. Canada is the single largest trade partner of those states. On the agenda, energy, manufacturing and tourism in light of Trump's trade war. Ontario's Premier Doug Ford was on CNN this morning to talk about the meetings.
Well, as we talk to the governors, a lot of governors are saying it's insulting. It's insulting to your closest friend and allies. We love the U.S. I love the U.S. Canadians love Americans. There's one person that is causing this issue, and that's President Trump. Hopefully he'll take another avenue and start mending fences. Because right now, as the governors told us here, they're seeing a drastic decline in Canadian tourism.
Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre will face a leadership review early next year. The review will take place at the party's National Council in Calgary in January. According to the party's constitution, if the leader does not resign after an election loss, a mandatory leadership review is triggered at its next convention. 2 European satellites have created the first artificial solar eclipse. This image was released by the European Space Agency. The artificial solar eclipse was created by twin satellites flying 150 meters apart. One satellite blocked the sun, mimicking the same way the moon does during a natural total solar eclipse. The other aimed its telescope at the corona. That forms the halo of light. The mission has generated 10 successful solar eclipses, allowing scientists to study the sun during totality. And coming up, how fast is an athlete's brain?
By our ability to measure their objective brain waves, we could start to find the things that actually allow them to think faster.
And it's being used by sports teams around the world. And there's a new way to get a cheaper summer vacation in Canada.
Tonight on CTV National News, W5 investigates.
It's just insane.
A Canadian family bought a car from a dealership, and it turned out it had been stolen.
Something doesn't add up about the history of this vehicle.
How thieves could be selling stolen cars to you. W5 investigates tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
We're just getting word that Prime Minister Mark Carney's office is saying that Donald Trump has agreed to have a deal on a new economic and security relationship between Canada and the U.S. by mid-July. The two men met this morning at the G7 summit. Meanwhile, the G7 leaders are talking trade and tariffs, as well as the escalating conflict in the Middle East. Vaughn Hilliard has the details from Washington.
President Trump on the global stage today, gathering with world leaders for the G7 summit in Canada.
We're going to be talking about trade and many other things.
The high-stakes meeting, the first of his second term, comes as trade tensions rise and a new conflict is erupting overseas. Once again today, Israel and Iran trading fire. The IDF reporting another barrage of incoming missiles from Iran.
It's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
While the U.S. is supporting Israel's air defense, sources tell NBC News that President Trump vetoed Israel's plan to assassinate Iran's supreme leader And though the U.S. initially had nuclear talks with Iran on the books for this weekend, President Trump appeared to back Israel's attacks.
We've always supported Israel. We have for a long period of time, strongly. And Israel's doing very well right now.
Another top issue on the agenda, the global economy.
I'm a tariff person. I've always been a tariff. It's simple. It's easy.
The president meeting today with the summit's host, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, after taunting the U.S. neighbor and close ally as the 51st state in slapping tariffs on steel and aluminum, with others paused until July 9th.
Then we're going to see what we're going to come out with something, hopefully.
The White House says tariff deals are in the works for several countries as concern over the economic future for Americans remains uncertain. Well, at the G7 summit today, President Trump lamenting that it is no longer 8 countries in the alliance, expressing displeasure that more than a decade ago now, Russian President Vladimir Putin was kicked out after invading and annexing Crimea. In Putin's place, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is slated to meet with President Trump tomorrow. In Washington, Vaughn Hilliard, NBC News.
The Finance Minister, Éric Girard, is also the minister responsible for relations with English-speaking Quebecers. He says the CAQ is trying to rebuild trust with the community. Girard admits there's been conflict over issues such as English school boards and tuition hikes for out-of-province students, but he says they are working on better communication.
The ultimate goal is to move from a point where there's a lot of there's a lack of trust to a situation where there's more trust, and that's what I'm aiming. And have I been 100% successful? No, but we certainly right now we understand better that's really what is being looked for by the English-speaking Quebecers. They're looking to move from to a position where everybody trusts each other in our relations.
The full interview with Éric Girard is on our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Police say they've dismantled an organized crime network linked to Ontario's towing industry. The police forces involved say they've recovered more than $4.2 million in assets.
Our investigators identified a specific Brampton-based group believed to be behind a significant portion of these crimes, as well as offenses in the towing industry. The project allowed us to target a group and disrupt and dismantle its operations. Our investigation identified a criminal organization, its members and associates, and revealed its hierarchy and structure, as well as numerous offenses it was involved in, including extortions, firearms-related offenses, frauds, and other property-related crimes.
The investigation targeted a criminal organization believed to be behind the cases of extortion and violence. Police say they found links to the towing industry. The accused faced dozens of charges related to criminal organization, extortion, fraud, and firearms. The new Canada Strong Pass goes into effect on Friday. The pass aims to encourage young people to explore Canada this summer. With the pass, people will be able to visit many of Canada's landmarks, museums and national parks for free or at a discounted rate. It's expected to save families tens to hundreds of dollars in fees, and the pass does not require any registration.
From June 20th to September 2nd, the pass will offer expanded access to Canada's nature and culture. This includes free admission for everyone to our beautiful national parks, historic sites, and marine conservation areas administered by Parks Canada, and 25% discount on camping fees. Free trips for children under 17 when accompanied by an adult on Via Rail trains, and 25% discount for young adults between the age of 18 and 24. Free admission in our national, provincial, and territorial museums for children age 17, and under 50% discount for young adults age 18 to 24.
There is cool, cloudy weather now in British Columbia, and that is helping wildfire crews fight the Dryden Creek wildfire near Squamish. A video from the Wildfire Service shows the extent of the damage caused by the fire since it began a little over a week ago. A local state of emergency remains in place, but the fire is now classified as being held.
The fire is projected to remain within its current perimeter based on the fuel and weather conditions and resource availability that we currently have. There has been a ton of really hard work in quite challenging terrain to get to this place. And our crews will be working on the site probably for the next couple of weeks to bring it under control and complete that mop-up.
It's believed the fire was caused by humans. RCMP are investigating and are asking anyone with information to come forward. And there was some heavy rain in Saskatchewan, but that hasn't helped reduce the number of wildfires there. A new fire began this morning, and that brings the total to 13 active fires. 6 communities remain under evacuation orders. Scientists are looking for better ways to limit damage from wildfires. They're trying to develop new technology using AI to predict where fires will start so they can be prevented. Connor Hogg has more.
Sudden, destructive, out-of-control wildfires. Large-scale events that destroy homes, landmarks, and in some cases, parts of entire cities have become a part of spring and summer in Alberta over the past decade. That's pushing a number of Canadian companies to develop ways to prevent the kinds of wildfires seen in Fort McMurray in 2016 and Jasper National Park last year.
A combination of statistical modeling, probabilistic modeling, and physical modeling to capture the fire behavior.
Some use drone mapping, others, like AI6, use complicated computer systems. Millions of simulations measure minute data, things like temperature, rain levels, wind patterns, and dryness. Jill Roberti with AI6 says software sifts through the results, pinpointing where a wildfire could start and spread.
To understand what is the probability of a fire occurring today and in 10, 20, 50 years according to different climate change scenarios. There might be cases where mitigation measure might be taken where, for example, preventive burns or fuel thinning.
Swan Hills, Grand Cache, and Jasper facing a higher probability of risk. The technology is new, but Roberti says it's already in use, identifying potential hotspots to municipalities and insurance companies.
People taking preventive measure once they see their community on the map.
He says using this kind of preventative technology could also benefit people beyond the Canadian border.
There's fire all across the world because, again, temperature is getting hotter everywhere, right? I like the idea of helping people, and this is I think a good way to do it because it applies very complicated scientific concept to help people.
Applying science to help society. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Weather, brought to you by Gratian Scaff's second pair is a gift event, including designer frames for a limited time.
Well, from fires to showers, here is a look at where it could rain right in the Montreal area. We are expecting some showers this week, a far cry from our conditions today. But let's take a look at our current temperatures. We're seeing it ranging from about 23 to 27 degrees in the surrounding area. So we've got 23 in Quebec City, 25 over in Sherbrooke and Mirabel, and 27 degrees right now in Montreal. That is falling just 1 degree short of our expected high for today. So that sits at 28 for the Montreal area. Just a few degrees warmer than our normal high for this time, which normally sits at 24 degrees. But we had a spot on day insofar as our low. So our normal low for this time sits at 13. That's exactly what we saw earlier this morning. And for tonight, we're expecting a pretty warm one coming in. So our low for tonight is sitting at 19 degrees, along with partly cloudy skies. By tomorrow morning, we can expect to see even more clouds in those skies. So mostly cloudy skies for the morning with 19 degrees as our starting temperature. And then by afternoon, we're looking at about a 40% chance of some showers coming in, but a warm high of 26 degrees. So let's take a look at these conditions. We see the Montreal area underneath pretty clear skies at 7 p.m. tonight. And then we start to see more and more clouds rolling in as we get closer to tomorrow morning. So we do also see some of those spotty showers coming in around the area, but the bulk of the precipitation is expected expected in the northern regions of the province. So even areas including Quebec City could see some rain tomorrow night. As far as Montreal and how much we can expect to see, we're looking at roughly 1 millimeter on Tuesday, possibly another 2 on Wednesday with a high of 28 degrees. And then on Thursday, you're going to want to watch out because we do have a 70% chance of thunder showers bringing 15 millimeters of rain our way. But good news after that, we're looking at mixes of sun and clouds.
And coming up, a warning about something known as gas station heroin.
I don't want any other mother to go through what I'm going through.
It's sold in convenience stores in the U.S. It can be very dangerous. And Jagmeet Singh finds himself caught in the middle of a rapper feud.
Your Health, brought to you by Gratian Scaff's Second Pair is a Gift event, including designer frames for a limited time.
Seems that hockey players who play in different positions show different brain activity. Researchers say this information might help improve performance. Ben Nesbitt reports.
McDavid's going to break. Connor McDavid scores! NHL superstar Connor McDavid has pushed the boundaries of physical performance with his electrifying speed. But now SFU researchers are hoping to help athletes speed up their brains.
We discovered a way to measure cognitive performance.
Neuroscientist and SFU professor Ryan Darcy co-founded the NeuroCatch brain scanner. The portable device measures brain responses related to sensory, attentional, and cognitive processing in just 6 minutes using a soft cap.
We can measure you thinking faster, and we can optimize that so that you're actually able to perform better from a mental processing point of view.
The device is being used by sports teams around the globe, and recently Darcy wanted to put it to the test here in BC, where he and his team tested nearly 380 Junior A hockey players. The results ultimately differed by positions, with forwards having about a 60 millisecond faster processing speed on average than defensemen.
By our ability to measure their objective brainwaves, we could start to find the things that actually allow them to think faster.
The athletes can then take the feedback and incorporate mental training into their regimen.
We now have kind of an incredible list of things that allow you to shave like 50, 100 to 150 milliseconds off of your ability to cognitively anticipate the play.
Helping skaters stay a step ahead, one scan at a time. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
In the United States, there's a warning about products sold in convenience stores. They're known as gas station heroin. It's a supplement that the FDA calls a serious health risk. Allison Cossack.
This morning, a new warning from the FDA about products like these, marketed as energy shots or cognitive supplements, sold at gas stations, convenience stores, and vape shops. Sometimes called gas station heroin for its opioid-like effects, these elixirs, pills, and powders with names like Neptune's Fix and Zaza contain tianeptine, a drug that's never been approved by the FDA and can be addictive and cause serious side effects.
It's very invigorating. It's a distraction from reality.
ABC News spoke with Hannah Gilliam last year. She says she got addicted to tianeptine.
It was miserable. I've withdrawn from heroin. I've withdrawn from pain pills. I've withdrawn, pain pills that come with fentanyl, and they don't even measure close to what those withdrawals from tianeptine felt like.
Calls to poison control centers involving tianeptine have increased by more than 500% in recent years. Now, the FDA, in a new letter to health professionals, warns about the magnitude of the underlying danger of these products, urging consumers to avoid all products containing tianeptine, including those claiming to treat an ailment or disorder.
I don't want any other mother to go through what I'm going through.
Christy Terry says her son suffered from migraines. He went to a gas station looking for something to soothe his symptoms and wound up taking 12 of the 15 pills in the bottle of tianeptine. The bottle suggested only 2 pills a day.
All I knew that he had took them pills for a headache, but I had no idea that they would have took his life.
While it's technically illegal to have tianeptine in products in the U.S., Doctors say companies are able to manufacture products with it because it's a gray area of regulation, with supplements not facing the scrutiny medications do. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Business news brought to you by Oviedo Duluth, supporting families of sick children throughout the month of June.
There's more activity in the Canadian real estate market and in cities that have been lagging for months. Here's Mirella Fernandez.
Canadian home sales fell more than 4% in May compared to May of 2024. But between April and May, home sales were up more than 3%. And that's the first month-over-month increase in half a year. Potential buyers have been cautious since the start of 2025, with concerns about the economy. The board of MEG Energy is once again urging shareholders to reject a hostile takeover bid. Strathcona Resources is offering about $6 billion for the oil firm. The MEG board says the offer is inadequate. A court in Mali has ordered the state take over a gold mine that is majority owned by Barrick Mining. The Canadian company has been in a dispute with the military government of Mali for more than a year. The country is demanding a bigger stake in the mining operation. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is up again to 73.65. West Texas Intermediate is down to 70.25. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it up $4.50 to 61.84. And the TSX is up 64 points to 26,568. Those are your business headlines. I'm Mirella Fernandez.
Former NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has issued a public apology. It was for attending a Kendrick Lamar concert in Drake's hometown of Toronto. Andrea Case has more.
Fans were certainly ready to party when Kendrick Lamar with special guest SZA played 2 shows in Toronto last week.
Let's go.
But one attendee in particular is feeling the heat. Jagmeet Singh was spotted at the show, and Toronto rapper Drake isn't happy about it, going as far as calling the former NDP leader a goof for being there. Drake and Lamar have been embroiled in a beef for over a year, the two dropping diss tracks against each other. The undisputed winner of the feud is Lamar and his Grammy-winning record, They're Not Like Us. In the track, Lamar calls Drake a pedophile for allegedly dating underage women. Drake has taken Lamar and his record company to court, suing for defamation. As for Singh, he took to X to apologize, writing, "I was born in this city, I love this city, but real talk, I get it. I shouldn't have gone at all. OVO and Drake have lifted the city and Canada for me. It'll always be Drake over Kendrick."
Andrea Case, CTV News, Toronto.
There's a call to address what's being called a growing crisis of human trafficking here in Quebec. Now, Caroline, you'll be speaking to the MNA, who's calling for a parliamentary commission on this.
Yes, we spoke with Jennifer Macaron, the Liberal MNA for Westmount St. Louis today. She is pushing for a parliamentary commission on what she says is a growing problem in all types of human trafficking in Quebec: sex trafficking, labor trafficking, even organ trafficking. We'll hear more about what she believes a commission would do to not only raise awareness about this, but also prosecute these crimes. And we will, of course, be keeping our eye on the search for Claire Bell, the little 3-year-old girl who went missing yesterday. Police did find the body of a dog that was believed to be with her in Vaudreuil and have now moved part of their search to that area. We'll have the latest on that at 11:30. Mitsumi.
Thanks very much, Caroline. Pigeons are as much of a fixture of New York City as the Empire State Building, but over the weekend, pigeons took center stage at another New York fixture. Here's Danny New.
Can you get more New York than an event called Pigeon Fest? Over the weekend, thousands gathered to celebrate the bird with an estimated local population of 9 million. It was held next to a 16-foot pigeon sculpture at a park called the High Line, and festivities included games, merch, and most notably, a contest called the Pigeon Impersonation Pageant.
I just thought, oh my gosh, I have to take part in this.
Miriam here not only took part in the pigeon pageant, She took first place, earning the official title of Top Pigeon of NYC.
I really had no idea who was going to win. And especially through the costume, my vision and my hearing are very limited.
Miriam is a British artist who has lived in the city for 11 years now, and originally spent 4 weeks building her costume out of chicken wire and paper mache for Halloween. Also, here is video of her riding the subway, which New Yorkers probably didn't blink at. But thankfully, she held on to that costume, and Saturday she was put to the test, competing with 6 other pigeon enthusiasts. They were judged on plumage, aesthetic, and one emphatic performance.
Doing the pigeon.
Miriam went with Bert's iconic Doing the Pigeon dance from Sesame Street. Others chose a more avant-garde approach, having pieces of bread thrown at them. But what may surprise you is that, according to its organizers, Miriam will be the only winner of the pigeon impersonation pageant ever.
Wait, we sequel everything. You're not doing this again?
No.
Why?
Because we don't repeat ourselves at the High Line. You own this title.
Wow, that's really, to know that is incredible.
I did ask Miriam how she plans to display her new pigeon trophy, and she said she plans to build a nest for it because, of course, that's her plan. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
I noticed you were wearing a jacket in studio earlier. It's cold in there.
It sure is. Thankfully, it's warmer outdoors than it is in here. Thank goodness for that. And it's going to get warmer, but it's also expected to get more wet. So for tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy skies along with a low of 19 degrees for the evening. And then we're looking at some showers coming in as we head closer to the middle of the week. So we've got a 40% chance of 1 millimeter tomorrow with a high of 26 and possible thunder showers come Thursday.
And that's it for us. Have a good evening. Stay well. Good night.